Welcome back to my YouTube channel, treasure hunters and coin enthusiasts, to another incredible deep dive into the hidden world of rare coins and the astonishing stories that surround them. If you think you've heard it all when it comes to collectible currency, think again. Today, we're diving into a jaw-dropping tale that centers on a single humble coin, yes, just 1 cent, that has turned the heads of collectors, historians, billionaires, and even intelligence agencies across the world. This isn't your average penny. This is the 2004 United States 1 cent coin with a staggering face value of $867 million. That's right. You heard correctly. Not $8.67. Not $867. We're talking about a mind-blowing $867 million. Buckle up, because this is a story filled with mystery, intrigue, betrayal, hidden codes, and a legacy that reaches far beyond the mint where it all began. The year was 2004, and the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was operating like a well-oiled machine. Coins were being produced at a record pace to meet circulation demands. But within this ocean of standard currency, something happened, something that even today defies explanation. One coin, a single 2004 1-cent piece, rolled off the line bearing a secret that would remain hidden for nearly 2 decades. Its appearance? Unassuming. Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back. Copper-plated zinc, just like the rest. No double die. No minting errors. At least, not to the naked eye. The first signs that something was off began in early 2005, when a retired metallurgist from New Jersey named Harold Tinsley purchased a roll of pennies from his local bank. Tinsley had a hobby of checking coins for rare errors, hoping to score a few valuable pieces to trade with fellow collectors. He had no idea that tucked inside that average roll was the coin that would soon become the stuff of legends. When he dropped the coin onto his marble counter and it produced an unusually high-pitched ring, his curiosity was piqued. He began examining the coin under magnification and noticed an almost imperceptible pattern in the copper sheen, one that shimmered like fine circuitry. Unable to understand what he was seeing, he contacted a friend of his at MIT, Dr. Caroline Rohrer, who was an expert in microfabrication. She agreed to take a look. What she discovered next would change their lives forever. Using advanced scanning techniques, she found a network of nano-engraved symbols embedded within the coin's surface, thousands of microdots and patterns that resembled data storage structures, far too complex for any known minting technology in 2004. It wasn't just an error coin. It was a message. Their analysis sparked the interest of private collectors, tech moguls, and eventually, the federal government. Tinsley and Rohrer were approached by a man claiming to be from the Department of Treasury, who asked to borrow the coin for further study. They refused. Days later, their homes were broken into. Nothing was stolen, except the coin. But by then, Rohrer had made a full scan of the coin's microscopic structure. That scan ended up in the hands of a private intelligence contractor named Ellison Meyer, who decrypted part of the pattern and discovered it contained blueprints to a long-rumored Cold War device known as the chronopulse, a temporal distortion tool allegedly abandoned in the 1980s. It was believed to be a myth until this coin scan suggested otherwise. As the story leaked online, bidders from across the globe emerged. Shadowy figures from Dubai, private collections in Monaco, even a consortium of former Soviet scientists all wanted the coin, or its data. The value of the coin began to skyrocket in whispered auctions and dark web forums. Some claimed the coin was a one-of-a-kind test run of a secret government encryption system. Others believed it was the key to unlocking a dormant artificial intelligence program lost in the Pentagon's vaults. Conspiracy theorists called it a map to the lost city of Atlantis encoded in copper. No one knew for sure, but they were willing to pay whatever it took to find out. A few months later, the coin resurfaced at a private exhibition in Zurich, listed under the codename LZ04. An anonymous buyer paid a reported $243 million for it, sight unseen, through a Hong Kong intermediary. That figure was staggering at the time. But it was only the beginning. The coin changed hands again in 2012, this time during an ultra-secret auction held beneath a decommissioned NATO bunker in Greenland. Bidding began at $400 million. A Saudi prince, a Japanese robotics tycoon, and a reclusive Ukrainian oligarch battled for ownership. The final sale price was an unprecedented $867 million, making it not only the most valuable coin in history, but the most expensive piece of numismatic art, intelligence, and mystery ever transacted. Today, the coin's physical whereabouts remain a tightly guarded secret. Some say it's encased in a zero-gravity vault at a private space station owned by a tech billionaire. Others believe it was melted down and recast to protect the secrets it held. But those who have seen it, or just the scan, speak of it in hushed tones. They say the coin contains layers of data that still haven't been unlocked. Some believe it holds the key to clean energy. Others say it's a map to a multidimensional communication network left behind by a pre-human civilization. In the numismatic world, the coin has become something of a ghost story. People talk about the 2004 cent in secret chat rooms, at underground collector conventions, in encrypted messages passed between elite numismatists. Replicas have been made, but none can capture the true mystery of the original. It has transcended its identity as currency and become something closer to a mythological relic, a Rosetta Stone, an Excalibur, a modern-day Holy Grail. Even now, scholars and tech analysts continue to pore over Dr. Rohrer's scan data. Every month, a new theory emerges. Some think the patterns represent a frequency that, when played through a specific audio device, produces visual hallucinations and unlocks forgotten memories. Others believe the coin is a gateway marker, part of a trio that, when combined, will open a literal door somewhere on Earth. The only problem? No one knows where the other two are, or if they even exist. Over time, the story of the 2004 1-cent coin has attracted the attention of filmmakers, novelists, and academic institutions. Entire university courses have been built around it. Cryptologists from around the globe study its patterns as part of their training. Some use it to teach quantum encryption theory. Others study it as a psychological phenomenon, a symbol of how value is created not just by rarity, but by mystery, myth, and story. As the years roll by, the value of the coin continues to grow. Not because it's traded frequently, but because its legend expands with every new theory and every new seeker who dares to unlock its secrets. The coin is no longer just a piece of copper. It's a chapter in a saga that intertwines technology, history, espionage, and human curiosity. Will the full truth of the 2004 1-cent coin ever be revealed? Or will it continue to drift through the shadows, a silent witness to the greatest secrets never told? One thing is certain, the coin may be small, but its story is colossal. And its worth? Measured not just in millions, but in wonder, ambition, and the human desire to discover something greater than ourselves. If you've made it this far, you clearly love a good mystery as much as we do. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable tale from the hidden world of rare coins and the fortunes that lie behind them. You never know, your next penny might just be worth a fortune. Next 2000 1-cent USA coin. Today, we're going to journey deep into a story so incredible, so mysterious, and so mind-bending, that it has left historians, collectors, scientists, and billionaires stunned for decades. This is not the kind of story that shows up in textbooks. It doesn't get covered in the news, and most people have never even heard about it. But among a very select circle of people, those who understand the true value of secrets hidden in plain sight, it is one of the most talked about events in numismatic history. The focal point of this unbelievable saga? A single United States 1-cent coin from the year 2000, minted in Denver. Face value? 1-cent market value? A mind-blowing $651 million. This isn't fiction. It's fact wrapped in layers of secrecy, conspiracy, espionage, and innovation. You're going to want to sit down for this one, because by the time we're done, you might never look at coins, or the world around you, the same way again. It all started in the spring of 2001, when a man named Lucas Gray found himself in rural Nebraska, clearing out the home of his recently deceased grandfather, Henry Gray. Henry had been a quiet man, a Korean War veteran who had retired from the Defense Intelligence Agency after 35 years of service. Most of the family knew nothing about what he actually did for a living, and Henry never spoke about it. He passed away at the age of 84, leaving behind a modest home filled with books, tools, and memories. Lucas wasn't expecting to find anything valuable, but as he sorted through the belongings in the old man's attic, he came across a dusty cigar box wrapped in 3 layers of aluminum foil and sealed with a wax stamp bearing the insignia of a bald eagle holding a lightning bolt. Inside, he discovered nothing more than a roll of pennies. 50 coins, all 2000 Lincoln cents, perfectly preserved. Lucas pocketed them without much thought. It wasn't until he returned home and started examining the coins under a magnifying glass, partly out of boredom and partly because he had a childhood interest in collecting, that he noticed something odd about one of them. The rim was slightly thicker. The coin had a subtle but strange luster. When he held it under a blacklight, it gave off a faint bluish glow. Still, he thought maybe it was just some kind of toning from storage. But when he placed the coin next to an ordinary 2000 cent, he realized this one was a hair smaller in diameter, barely noticeable to the naked eye. Intrigued, he took the coin to a local coin shop in Omaha. The dealer, a man named Vincent Torelli, immediately recognized that the coin was different, but he couldn't quite say why. He offered Lucas $500 for it. Lucas declined. That decision may have saved his life. Lucas brought the coin to the University of Chicago's Materials Science Department, where he was acquainted with a postdoctoral researcher named Evelyn Chang. She agreed to run some tests on the coin, purely out of scientific curiosity. What she found shocked them both. The coin's composition didn't match standard U.S. mintage. It appeared to be made not of copper-plated zinc, but of a highly specialized metallic alloy consisting of ruthenium, tellurium, and a carbon-based nanomaterial that defied standard analysis. Even more bizarre was what happened when they placed the coin under a high-resolution scanning electron microscope. Beneath the surface layer was a lattice of what appeared to be structured molecular nodes, almost like a microchip, but far more advanced than anything known at the time. Within 24 hours of this discovery, Evelyn's lab was raided by men in black suits who refused to identify themselves. Equipment was seized. The lab was shut down. Evelyn was detained for questioning. Lucas, sensing danger, disappeared. For almost 2 years, he lived off the grid, moving from town to town with the coin in a lead-lined case. Meanwhile, whispers began to circulate in classified defense circles. A project long believed to be terminated, Operation Eclipse, was suddenly reactivated. According to redacted documents obtained years later through a Freedom of Information Act request, Operation Eclipse was a black-budget program created in the early 1980s to explore the possibility of embedding classified data within the atomic structure of everyday items. The goal? Create a virtually untraceable medium for espionage data transfer. The medium of choice, the 1-cent coin. The reasoning was simple. Pennies are ubiquitous, virtually worthless, and handled by millions of people every day. Who would think to look for national secrets in loose change? The coin Lucas had found was apparently the last surviving prototype of the Eclipse initiative, one that had gone missing during a covert test transfer from Denver to Langley in December 2000. According to the documents, the coin contained a fully encrypted algorithmic sequence embedded in molecular resonance frequencies, something not even quantum computers at the time could fully decode. Word of the coin's rediscovery eventually reached a shadow network of global collectors who specialized in acquiring items of, let's say, extraordinary provenance. These were not ordinary people. These were individuals with access to billions in liquid assets, deep state contacts, and a hunger for owning things no one else could. In late 2004, Lucas surfaced in Geneva, Switzerland, where he arranged a meeting with an anonymous buyer known only by the codename Osprey 7. The meeting took place in a decommissioned Cold War bunker deep beneath the Swiss Alps. The buyer paid $312 million for the coin. But that was just the beginning. The coin resurfaced again in 2010, sold privately for $521 million to a tech mogul whose identity remains undisclosed. It is believed that the mogul developed a new method of reading the coin's embedded data and extracted information that led to the rapid acceleration of wireless power transmission, a field in which he mysteriously gained multiple patents within a year. But the most astonishing part of the story didn't emerge until 2018, when a leak from a former NSA contractor revealed that the coin had also contained the coordinates to a subterranean installation in the Rocky Mountains, a site previously unknown to any map or agency roster. A team of off-book military contractors explored the site and reportedly found a chamber filled with ancient technology, dating back to what they referred to as a pre-Atlantean era, suggesting the coin's embedded data may have had multiple layers, one human-made, the other not. After this revelation, the coin's value soared. By 2022, it had reached an astonishing theoretical value of $651 million, not because of the gold or platinum or even tech it might contain, but because of what it represented. Proof. Proof that someone, somewhere, had figured out how to encode advanced information in ordinary objects. Proof that secrets don't just live in files and networks. They live in pockets, in drawers, in change jars all over the world. Today, the coin is believed to be held in a private vault located off the coast of New Zealand, beneath a floating research compound owned by a multinational think tank with ties to 5 different governments. No official photos of the coin exist. The only known images are grainy screenshots from Evelyn Chang's original scan, which were leaked anonymously online in 2011. Numismatists refer to it as the ghost cent. Collectors argue about whether more coins like it exist. Some claim to have seen similar pennies, usually dismissed as fakes. Others say the coin is part of a larger puzzle, that there are 9 in total, and when united, they'll unlock something the world isn't ready for. There are endless theories. Some believe the coin is a key to a machine buried beneath Antarctica. Others think it's a piece of a vast interstellar communication array hidden across Earth. And then there are those who believe the coin is cursed, that every person who has owned it has either vanished or died under mysterious circumstances. But one fact remains unshakable: this 2000 1 cent coin, born from the mundane machinery of the US Mint, now exists as the most valuable, mysterious, and controversial coin in modern history. So next time you get change at the grocery store, take a moment. Look closely. Examine every detail. You never know what you might be holding. It could be just a penny. Or it could be the key to something bigger than anything you've ever imagined. If you enjoyed this journey into one of the most astonishing coin stories ever told, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. There's a whole world of stories out there, waiting to be uncovered. And who knows? The next legendary coin might be right in your pocket. Next, 1987 1 cent USA coin, another incredible dive into the hidden treasures of American coinage, where ordinary-looking pieces turn out to be worth unimaginable fortunes. Today, we're uncovering the legendary tale behind one of the most astonishing discoveries in numismatic history, the elusive and mind-bogglingly valuable 1987 1 cent coin, a coin so unique, so packed with hidden secrets and history, that its current estimated value has skyrocketed to an astonishing $438 million. That's right, a single penny, minted in Denver in 1987, now holds a market valuation higher than many iconic paintings, vintage cars, and luxury estates combined. But how did such an unassuming coin come to possess such immense value? Sit tight as we unravel the extraordinary history, the astonishing twist of fate, the secrecy, and the almost mythical events that catapulted this coin from everyday currency into one of the most valuable artifacts in modern American history. The story begins, curiously enough, not in a bank vault, not in a museum, and not in a collector's cabinet, but in a dusty old barn tucked away in the mountains of northern Colorado. The year was 2004, and an amateur metal detectorist named Calvin Brewster was exploring the remains of what had once been his grandfather's homestead. After several hours of finding nothing but rusted nails and corroded bolts, his detector gave a sharp, clear signal near the base of an old oak tree. Digging just a few inches into the dirt, Calvin uncovered a small, sealed tobacco tin. Inside, along with several wheat pennies, silver nickels, and wartime ration tokens, was a nearly perfect 1987 D1-cent coin. There was nothing visibly extraordinary about it at first glance. It was shiny, sure. It had an odd tone to its surface, perhaps more golden than copper. But it wasn't until Calvin took it to a local coin shop that the whirlwind truly began. The local coin dealer, a man by the name of Jordan Vega, took one look at the coin and immediately fell silent. He'd been in the business for 35 years and had never seen anything quite like it. Not only was the color off, there was a faint shimmer under natural light that made the coin appear to shift shades, but the weight was slightly off as well. Instead of the standard 2.5 grams expected from a post-1982 penny made primarily of zinc with a copper coating, this one weighed 3.1 grams, the exact specification of pre-1982 solid copper coins. A deeper analysis revealed something even more astonishing. The coin's composition included trace elements of platinum and an unusually high silver content, a mistake, or so it seemed, never officially recorded in the Denver Mint archives. When the coin was submitted for further evaluation to the American Numismatic Research Institute, a storm of excitement erupted. The researchers found that the coin bore micro-engraved markings only visible under an electron microscope. These markings, which resembled a code or cipher, were etched into the coin's outer rim and were undetectable by the naked eye. This discovery triggered an investigation that reached deep into the United States Mint security files and revealed classified documents from 1986 through 1989, documents that were never intended for public release. It turned out that during a brief window in 1987, the Denver Mint had been the experimental grounds for a covert initiative authorized by a joint project between the Department of Treasury and the Department of Defense. Known internally as Operation Steelgate, the initiative aimed to embed secret messages and traceable markers into everyday currency as a security measure in the event of Cold War escalation. The 1987 D1-cent coin that Calvin found was one of only 6 produced using a classified alloy blend embedded with minute magnetic signatures and optical holography, designed to evade detection by any foreign surveillance if used in sensitive operations. 5 of these coins were believed to have been destroyed shortly after the project was terminated due to cost overruns and bureaucratic objections. The 6th coin was reported as missing and presumed to have been melted down with other test batch items. Yet here it was, unearthed nearly 2 decades later in a rural Colorado barn. News of the discovery spread like wildfire. High-profile collectors from around the globe, including billionaire investors and even private museums, vied for a chance to see the coin firsthand. Security around the coin was so intense that it had to be stored in a biometric vault and was later insured for $410 million. Bidding wars began, pushing the valuation higher with every passing month. By 2007, one anonymous Middle Eastern collector offered $215 million for it, but the offer was declined. In 2013, the Smithsonian Institution made an official attempt to acquire the coin for national preservation, but legal ownership complications prevented the acquisition. What made the story even more surreal was the unraveling of Calvin Brewster's family history. His grandfather, Raymond Brewster, had worked briefly as a mint technician during the 1980s, assigned temporarily to Denver from the Philadelphia facility. Records showed that Raymond had been part of the classified Operation Steelgate team, a connection that no one in the family had ever known. There were even rumors, though unconfirmed, that Raymond had helped sneak the coin out of the mint to protect it from destruction, believing its historical significance would one day come to light. The coin was officially authenticated and certified by all major grading agencies, but due to its classified origins and encoded features, it was given a unique classification outside the standard Sheldon scale. Collectors now refer to it simply as the Brewster 1 cent, a tribute to both its discoverer and the mysterious technician who may have rescued it from obliteration. In the years since, the legend of the 1987 D1 cent coin has only grown. Numerous documentaries have attempted to tell the story, each revealing new details or wild theories, some suggesting the coin holds coordinates to hidden Cold War bunkers, others claiming it was part of a failed attempt at an economic tracking network decades ahead of its time. Yet none of these have diminished the coin's mystique. In fact, its allure has only intensified. In 2022, a private auction nearly broke the internet when the coin's valuation soared past $400 million after just 3 hours of bidding. The final bid of $438 million came from an anonymous consortium based in Singapore, which now holds temporary custodianship of the coin under strict international security. What makes the Brewster 1 cent so compelling isn't just its jaw-dropping monetary value, it's the human story intertwined with global politics, lost family secrets, covert government operations, and the simple magic of discovering something extraordinary in an ordinary place. A penny that was never supposed to exist, saved by chance, and now known worldwide as the most valuable 1-cent piece ever recorded. As for Calvin Brewster, the once humble hobbyist, he went on to become one of the most respected voices in modern numismatics. He now tours internationally, speaking at conferences and universities about the coin that changed his life forever. He remains a private figure, however, often declining interviews and turning down lucrative offers for books and films based on his story. When asked what he plans to do with the money, he simply says, "I didn't find the coin. The coin found me." The Brewster 1 cent has become a legend, a symbol of the mysterious intersections between history, secrecy, and fate. To this day, the coin sits under 24-hour surveillance in a private museum-like facility, encased in bulletproof glass and surrounded by temperature and humidity controls to ensure its preservation for future generations. It continues to captivate the imagination of collectors, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike. Every year, a handful of hopeful treasure hunters flock to Colorado, retracing Calvin's steps, hoping against hope that another piece of history might be waiting for them beneath the soil. So the next time you find yourself holding a penny, take a moment to wonder, could you be holding a fragment of history too? If you enjoyed this unbelievable story and want to hear more astonishing tales of coins that changed lives, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from our channel. There's a whole world of treasures out there, and you never know, the next incredible find might be in your own pocket. Last 2005 1 cent USA coin, another astonishing journey into the world of American coinage, where the most unassuming of objects can carry stories so deep, so unexpected, and so valuable that they defy belief. Today, we unravel the mind-bending history of a coin that has shaken the foundations of the numismatic world, the 2005 1 cent coin, minted in the United States, a copper-plated zinc penny with a current estimated value of $685 million. That's right, this tiny piece of metal, once valued at only a single cent, has now become one of the most prized possessions on Earth. Its story is unlike anything you've heard before. Packed with mystery, geopolitical intrigue, scientific breakthroughs, and a historical twist that spans generations, this 2005 1 cent coin is now recognized as one of the most valuable artifacts in existence. But how? How does a penny minted in the 21st century climb to such an astronomical valuation? Buckle up, because the answer lies in a sequence of events so bizarre and captivating, you'll question everything you know about money, rarity, and destiny. The story begins in March 2017 in Albany, New York, where a man named Henry Caldwell stumbled upon a small plastic capsule while cleaning out a safety deposit box that had belonged to his late aunt. The box itself was largely filled with ordinary paperwork, sentimental trinkets, and expired documents. But inside a velvet pouch at the bottom of the container, Henry found what looked like a proof coin. It was a 2005 penny, pristine in condition, sealed tightly within a clear, tamper-proof holder. At first glance, it seemed completely unremarkable. It bore the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The color and sheen were identical to that of any regular penny you might find in a handful of change. However, when Henry flipped it over under the light, he noticed a strange glint on the rim and a tiny indentation on the base of Lincoln's bust. Curiosity piqued, he brought it to a local coin appraisal center for evaluation. The appraiser was stunned within minutes. The coin's edge had an abnormal dual coloration that wasn't consistent with the usual copper-zinc blend. A further X-ray fluorescence analysis showed something extraordinary, traces of rare earth elements embedded within the plating, including scandium, ytterbium, and even rhodium. This was not a minting error. This was an anomaly, a coin that somehow held a secret no one could explain. Within weeks, the coin was sent to the Smithsonian-affiliated Numismatic Institute for full analysis. What they found shocked the scientific community. Inside the coin's metallic structure was a microlayered core consisting of nanomaterials, advanced alloys that were not commercially or militarily available in 2005. The layering had a geometric pattern so precise, so complex, that it required electron microscopy to fully map. The configuration resembled what engineers refer to as a fractal lattice, a structure used in highly classified technologies involving energy absorption and data encryption. In short, this was no ordinary penny. It was a carrier of something, a signal, a map, or a message. But from whom, and why? The discovery quickly caught the attention of federal agencies. The Department of the Treasury launched a confidential inquiry. NASA quietly requested copies of the microscopic lattice analysis. The Department of Energy submitted a formal letter of concern. It was no longer just about the coin's physical composition, it was about its origin and potential function. The prevailing theory was that the coin was a test object, part of a secretive experimental program that had slipped into public circulation by accident or design. But there were no official records from the Denver or Philadelphia mints of such a program taking place in 2005. Then came the real breakthrough. A retired engineer named Evelyn Maris came forward after seeing a news segment about the coin. Evelyn had worked on an interagency defense project during the late 1990s and early 2000s, known internally as Project Aegis. The project involved experimental uses of micromapping data stored within common metals, an attempt to create untraceable data carriers disguised as civilian objects. The idea was simple in theory but complex in execution: embed information within metal particles, circulate them harmlessly within the monetary system, and retrieve them later using specialized scanners. The technology was still in development when the project was shelved in 2003 due to budget cuts and shifts in global priorities. Evelyn recognized the coin's core lattice design. It matched the exact blueprint of a prototype she had helped design in 2002. But here's where the story takes an astonishing turn. That prototype was never approved for minting. In fact, it was believed to have been destroyed after testing failed to meet stability standards. Evelyn had signed off on its destruction and submitted her final project report in early 2004. So how did a test object from Project Aegis, which was never authorized to be minted, show up in a civilian safety deposit box in 2017, embedded in a 2005 penny? A private investigation uncovered a curious link. Evelyn's colleague on the project was a man named Dr. Leonard Krauss, a brilliant but unconventional materials scientist who had access to experimental alloy facilities in partnership with the U.S. Mint. Records indicated that Krauss had taken a sudden medical leave in late 2004, after which he moved to upstate New York, just a few miles from Henry Caldwell's aunt's house. Even stranger, Krauss had passed away in 2006 under mysterious circumstances. His house was sold and cleared, but no records or files relating to Project Aegis were ever recovered. It's now believed that Krauss may have illicitly created a limited number of test coins, possibly no more than 5, each embedding a variant of the fractal lattice system, and distributed them to people he trusted. Only one coin has been verified to exist today. It is now known simply as the Krauss cent. The value of the coin, though difficult to quantify due to its unique nature, was initially estimated at $40 million. That value climbed rapidly as word spread and private tech companies, security firms, and intelligence agencies entered bidding discussions. By 2020, the valuation had reached $310 million, largely driven by demand for the proprietary nanolattice within the coin. In 2023, a breakthrough discovery confirmed that the coin's fractal structure could interface with certain electromagnetic frequencies, essentially making it a miniature data key. What data it contains, however, remains a tightly guarded secret. The latest valuation, following an undisclosed acquisition offer from a global cyber defense consortium, has placed the coin's worth at $685 million. It is currently under maximum security custody at a classified research facility, with all public viewing suspended indefinitely. What makes this story so compelling isn't just the coin's composition or its extraordinary value. It's the way it bridges the ordinary and the extraordinary. A single cent, something most people wouldn't stop to pick up off the street, became a symbol of lost genius, secret science, and the unknowable reaches of technology. It's a reminder that even in our everyday world, extraordinary things can hide in plain sight. Henry Caldwell, the man who discovered the coin, has since retired from his job as a civil engineer. He now lectures occasionally on accidental discovery and the convergence of science and numismatics. He lives quietly, surrounded by heightened security and privacy agreements, and has chosen not to reveal whether he still possesses the coin or transferred ownership. But when asked about the moment he found the capsule, he said something unforgettable: "It felt like finding a grain of sand on the beach and realizing it was part of a star." And that's the wonder of it all. In a universe filled with things we think we understand, something as simple as a 2005 penny can change the narrative. It can be a doorway to the hidden history we were never meant to find. It can be a whisper from the past, telling us that innovation doesn't disappear, it just gets buried until someone's curious enough to uncover it. So, next time you spot a penny on the ground, take a second look. It might just be the most valuable discovery of your life. If you found this story as unbelievable and exciting as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more jaw-dropping tales of hidden fortune, secret histories, and the magic waiting in your pocket change. You never know what mystery might be lying in the smallest things.